Shout out to everybody. Love you all. This is Mr. Tony's Hip Hop School. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. That should be, yo, if I had a good beat to that might be a hit. Like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe. But anyway, this is all about old school hip hop. This is about great as this, great as that, producers, rappers, female rappers, East Coast, West Coast, down South, Midwest. It could go into clothing. You know what I mean? Adidas sweatsuit, Puma sneakers, New York shoestrings, the thick New York shoestrings. We could talk about anything. Anything dealing with old school hip hop, I love to dialogue with you about it. This particular episode is going to be about New York and Philly back in those days. We talking about 86 to about 94, which is the greatest era of hip hop. The greatest era of hip hop, 86 to 94. But I always wanted to know who was the greatest rappers from each borough of New York. I'm from Philly, but I was well aware of New York hip hop at that time. Really all the way up to about 2004. Who's the greatest from the Bronx? Who's the greatest from Brooklyn? Who's the greatest from Harlem? Who's the greatest from Queens? Who's the greatest from Manhattan? Who's the greatest from Staten Island? Who's the greatest from Far Rockaway? Who's the greatest? The greatest from Philly? That's a tough one. It's a lot. It's a good amount. Not as many as New York. New York is a whole lot bigger, but Philly rappers, see, Philly back then was known for DJs. It wasn't known for rappers. There was more DJs and New York was more the rappers. But, you know, you had Fresh Prince, Steady B, Schoolie D, The Roots. See, The Roots wasn't out that early. They wasn't out at that time. You know, you had Cool C. I mean, I think the greatest rap group to come out of there was probably The Roots. You know, we had Bahamadia as well. I can't forget her. Schoolie D was one of my favorites. Actually, Fresh Prince was one of my favorites, to be honest with you. Now, New York, I would really have to, it's a long list of people as far as each borough. You know, I know Big Daddy Kane was out of Brooklyn, and Big Daddy Kane is one of my favorite of all time. I know Nas is out of Queens, and Nas is one of my favorite of all times. I know KRS-One is out of the Bronx, and KRS-One is my favorite of all time. Harlem, I don't know who was out of Harlem back at that time. Now, I know Cameron and Mace and people like that was out of Harlem. Jewels, Santana. You know, I don't know, but I mean, you know, this is really more for the audience. I really would like to know who is the greatest rappers out of each borough. You know, I know it's going to be too many to mention. It's going to be too many to mention. Because New York was, man, it was just rappers coming out of the woodworks in New York back then. You know what I mean? And, but I mean, I know for me, I forgot about Big. He's out of Brooklyn. You know, a lot of people are going to say Big. I mean, for me, Brooklyn, I mean, that's a hard one. There's a lot of rappers from Queens and Brooklyn. And, I mean, LL is from Queens, you know? So, I mean, man, that's why I posed the question. It's too many. It's too many. It's too many to mention. But I just want to know one from each borough. Philly, I probably should have did DJs because we were known for DJing. My favorite DJ out of Philly is DJ Cash Money. At the time, I think over time, I started liking DJ Jazzy Jeff more. You know, you had Tap Money. Tap Money was one of my favorite too. And then there was a dude named Giz Miz. He had a brief thing going for a little while in the 90s. But DJ Cash Money was my favorite DJ back in the late 80s, early 90s. Jeff was up there too, though. But the reason why I like Cash Money, because back then I actually like a little messing up. Like Cash Money would have, his cuts weren't as precise. But I actually kind of like that. I actually kind of like hearing, like it's some rap songs that were made where the DJ would cut it up a little bit and you can hear the little mistakes that they was making. I actually kind of like that shit. You know what I mean? And Cash was, I mean, it wasn't a mistake to the point you like, damn, he fucked up. It wasn't that kind of mistake. It was more of like, you know, it was just a little offbeat. You know what I mean? Just a teeny bit. You know what I mean? It was almost like he was in the basement and he was scratching. You know what I mean? And in a small way, I like that a little bit. Where Jeff was more, that shit was crisp. You know what I mean? He ain't miss a beat, nothing skipping, none of that shit. He still cuts like that to this day. But as I got older, I started liking Jeff more, you know. But I always liked Tap Money. You know, there was some DJs in New York I like. I mean, of course, you know, DJ Premier is not from New York. He's from Texas, but I'm sure New York has claimed him by now. I mean, he might have been my best. I mean, you know, Pete Rock. I used to like Cool V with Biz Markie. Biz Markie's DJ, Cool V, his cousin Vaughn. I used to like Cool V's cuts. You know what I mean? He had like a smooth, he had a specific style that I can't explain it, but I just knew it when I heard it, you know. But that's the question for this video is, who is the greatest rappers out of each borough of New York? Greatest rapper in Philly, I'm not sure. The most well-known, of course, is Will Smith, but he wasn't the greatest rapper. I think the greatest rappers actually came outside the era I'm talking about. Like, you might have had Cassidy. You know, you had a little bit of State Property, you know, with Beanie Siegel and all them. I mean, once you got past the 2000s, I think actually we had better rappers then. I don't think we had really good rappers besides Steady B in the 80s and 90s. That's just my opinion. I might be overlooking somebody. It might be somebody that I'm forgetting about. And, but this is probably more for New York. So each borough, who is the greatest? I mean, I pretty much know a few. You know, KRS-One is immediately my favorite of all time, and he came out of the Bronx. So KRS-One is definitely, for me, the Bronx. I know Nas is up there. Nas, I definitely love Nas. For some reason, I wasn't a big Rakim fan, but I do like Rakim. But I wasn't, like, back then, I wasn't like a huge Rakim fan. No. You know what I mean? But just let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, share, like, subscribe, share. This is Mr. Tony, Hip Hop School. Peace.